young people right now across Canada are starting college and universities. For others, it may be a time to press pause. Our next guest says the idea of a gap year for not just students but also working adults could be the reset you're looking for. Michelle Dittmer, president and founder of the Canadian Gap Year Association, joins me this morning. Great to have you in.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what percentage of students are we talking about that finish high school and then pause before moving on to their next chapter?
Yeah, if we tune in just to our heads, we think everybody goes on to college or university, and the number's actually quite high. It's about 25% of students aren't going directly into post-secondary. So some of them enter the workforce, some of them do other things, but a good chunk of them are taking an intentional pause, taking that gap year to reset and then enter on a better foot into post-secondary.
Okay, so you and I were talking right before the segment started, and I think parents have a lot of feelings when it comes to gap years. Some really champion it, others feel very apprehensive about it. And you made a really interesting point that a lot of parents will say to you, and what is that?
They'll say, yeah, that's a great idea. I totally see the value in it, but not for my kid. My kid needs to go. They feel this pressure that's from their lived experience, from their peers. What am I gonna tell my peers that my kid's not going? They're gonna think they're unsuccessful or they haven't made it. And the reality is quite the opposite. It's these young people are very mature and recognizing that pushing pause right now is actually gonna set them up for more success in their future.
So what do you hope that parents feel about this as opposed to apprehension? What would be the word that you label what they should be settling into?
Yeah, a gap year, I always call it a tool. It's a tool for people who are looking to get set up for the next step, whatever that looks like. So for some people, it is feeling burnt out and they need to push pause and reset and recharge that battery, because jumping into a very difficult post-secondary program when your battery's empty is not going to turn out very well. So for those folks, it's a great tool. For folks who don't know what they want to study, why are you going to jump in and spend tens of thousands of dollars if you're not even sure what direction you want to head? For other folks, they need to just explore a little bit. They get that antsy feeling inside of them. Lots of people want to get out there and see something more than their hometown. So for those folks to be better prepared for their future, it's really a tool, and parents should feel comfortable at least exploring and having that conversation with their young person.
I really love the fact that when I was reading my notes prepping for this, the idea of a gap year is not just for that 17-year-old or 18-year-old who's finished high school. It can also apply to adults, and we talk about this sometimes with the term sabbatical. So what do we need to consider here?
Yeah, so for adults, it is a lot of the same formula, which is really interesting because it's all about a point of transition in your life or a point of reset. And so for adults, it comes with many other names. So we lovingly call it an adult gap year because that's our space. But like you said, it's a sabbatical, a career break. A big trending term right now is mini retirement. So instead of saving up for that last kind of chapter of your life, you break it up and have it in smaller segments. But when we're grown-ups, we have a lot more responsibilities and ties to things. So we need to be a little bit more thoughtful in how we're approaching it. But again, it's that same idea, time to reset, time to recharge. And we know across the board that burnout is so real today.
If you have the means to do so, sometimes you just need that permission to do it. So there's your permission. Take the year if you can, if you're able to. So how do we make the most out of this year, Michelle? Let's talk for students and then we'll talk about other adults.
Perfect. So for students, a lot of people think that this is sitting on the couch, kind of waiting around, but young people today are very strategic about what they're doing. So the first thing that I recommend that young people do is get out there and shadow a bunch of careers. There is so much out there that young people don't know. What does a journalist do? What does an engineer do? People don't necessarily know that. So get out and shadow as many people as you possibly can. The second piece, when we think about financially, there's so many scholarships out there, and in your grade 12 year, you're very busy. You can't do the research. So spend some time, make it a part-time job to find and apply for scholarships. Other things, obviously working is a big component for a lot of people. I know there's lots of talks about the economy right now. So getting a handle on that student debt, getting ahead of it a little bit is very, very helpful. And a lot of young people come to us talking about their mental and physical health. So setting proper routines, getting better sleep hygiene, learning to go to the gym and build that into your routine. So really getting that well-roundedness into your life is really, really helpful during that time.
Yeah, and so many of those same things can apply to adults as well. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.